Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So today's our topic would be data actions in data cloud. So I'd love to introduce myself. And I'm sure you've been joining in different cities or places, different countries. I'm so happy that JP has been conducting this series for. I think the step one of the series would be data cloud consultant exam prep. The next level would be we're going to talk about the real-time use cases, and so that is the next sessions where you've been connected. I think please follow Phoenix Marketers Group, and then please like the YouTube channel that what she has been posting it. And once again, thank you, JB, for giving us this opportunity to talk on this group. About myself, I'm a Salesforce MVP and a two-time Salesforce marketing champion. I'm the founder and CTO of Valley Hub. So we are Singapore-based headquarters where we operate in Asia and mostly in US. And I'm a Trailblazer community group leader in Singapore and a Slack community group leader. I'm an enterprise SaaS cloud solutions architect working with multiple clouds across ecosystem of Salesforce, AWS, and other AI and ML platforms. You could follow me on Twitter at the rate Arigachetta, and you could follow me on LinkedIn as well, Phaneendra Arigachetta. A small forward-looking statement for it contains some of the slides we have been taken from Salesforce team, and that's what I kept the slide. And let's get into the agenda today. We're going to talk about data cloud overview. I'm sure that previous speakers have been talking a lot across data cloud implementations and data cloud data model segmentations, identity resolutions, and activation targets. And today is the last one, data actions, which is a crucial topic in your exam as well. It contains one or two questions definitely will come that we will cover, what kind of questions will come and how you could practice and prepare yourself. And further, we can talk about data actions overview and an high level architecture and facts and examples and the resources that you should follow from a data cloud standpoint. And if any questions, so please feel free to post your questions in the comment section. And when I have a time, I'm happy to answer these questions. If you really don't know the answer, I'll get back to you while learning something out of this. And then I can reach out to LinkedIn or put it somewhere so that you guys can grab it as well. Let's get into what is Salesforce Data Cloud. And everyone knows this is one of the most innovative platform, which is designed, developed by Salesforce. And it is a hyperscale, a Salesforce hyperscale platform, which is sits on Hyperforce. And it's a near real-time data platform that deeply integrated with Salesforce platform. So a simple one-liner term has been hosting an Hyperforce platform, which is available for across all the regions, which is very fast and is a real-time data platform that deeply integrated with Salesforce native platform. But when you look into it on a high level, how it does data foundations, and you should unlock the data across the business units, and where when I talk about business units, where you have different core concept of data sits in different sources of systems. When you're working with a big enterprise or a small medium enterprise companies, now you've been coming up with different strategies of Salesforce coming up with different strategies of how they should give a data cloud solution to SMB space, ESMB space, mid market, and even enterprise level space. So they've been very hard to try and give this platform for across everyone to leverage it, and that's what we have. Different editions comes up with marketing cloud growth, and we have our marketing cloud, data cloud for marketing, and data cloud for Tableau, data cloud for core. So we have different platforms now that we could evolve and can leverage data cloud very fully. And of course, the data has been massive nowadays. If you look at different industry verticals, everyone are moving on to the data, and it has plenty of data. The massive foundations have been designed for each and every enterprise level companies, or even mid market companies also have been working on different data silos to unlock their business sectors. And with this, data will be leveraged, and you could use your own models to design your predictive intelligence, and you could design your predictive behavior across the channels. And the recommendations across the channels would be generative AI, which is built on our one of the security trust layer inside Salesforce ecosystem. And then once we use this data plus AI, and the next one is to personalize every experience from every customer. So once we have this data, of course, you could play around it, and you could be able to serve your customers on a different whole holistic experience, right? So that's what it does, personalization experience for every customer, which makes more significant impact on your business and which increase your sales ROI as well. So that's what, if I can talk about deeply, how a platform is evolved and how it contains a massive factors of data plus AI plus CRM. And that brings a lot of potential from a customer standpoint to personalize every touch point at a scale as well. Let's get into data cloud data actions. As I've told, so it's a I would love to talk about how much it deep you in terms of your exam preparation, especially. So if you look at your data cloud consultant, so initially it was accredited professional. Now it would be a pure trailblazer consultant exam, and it plays a huge role in terms of learning as well as in terms of your project requirements. And don't look at, okay, this topic is specially designed for exam topic, but believe me, this topic help you out for making more impactful uh, design application within your implementations. I'm sure that this is makes a even when we start doing implementation, so we are implementing data actions for every touch point that you should learn about in the next few minutes. So ideally, it's carries under one of the topic, which is act on data. So when it comes to act on data, so there is a one topic, data actions, and they'll ask one or two questions, especially on the data actions. And that questions are very simple and straightforward. That you should learn about what it is in the next few minutes, and how it can be helpful in your exam point of view. So that's what it carries. 18% act on data, and within 18%, it will carry another 6 to 7% of data actions, and it will give you some use cases and the requirements in the exam where you can get to answer based on what we are trying to explain in the next few minutes, right? So let's go back to the presentation, and you should understand what is data cloud data actions. And if you look at a overall high level, so make sure you just need to follow this PPT. Then you don't need to go through a different help and training articles, because it covers 2 to 3 questions on the exam. So the data action questions, which details about a simple question. So where you can, what is a high level description of data actions, and what it does. So it does to send an alert or an event to target, and then it will monitor all the data changes exactly in data model objects and the calculated insights. And whenever the change happens, it does an event via platform events, and it will trigger an event via platform events. And it leverages marketing cloud as one of the platform, and webhooks is one of the platform, and salesforce platform events. So these three are the supported A targets for them to go and then leverage to trigger your data actions. And the biggest question, how it can be helpful, is it a batch streaming insights, or it is the normal streaming insights? These insights are near real time. Okay, it's almost like near real time. So whenever there is an update happens in data model entity or calculated insights, it automatically trigger an event via Salesforce platform events, webhooks, and marketing cloud. So the biggest question, how it look like in the back end? So it look like in the back end a kind of a rich payload, and that can be triggered based on some certain conditions, and you could enable downstream systems to driven action or an orchestration as well. So people will ask me a question about, so what are some of the use cases where we can use these data actions? And and predominantly these data actions where you could use it in different use cases, where we have some examples where we can talk about it in the later point of time. But a simple use case would be, let's take an example of Salesforce platform event. We would love to trigger a flow that compiles the data from the streaming insights, because the streaming insights where we are getting data from, consider a website or a mobile app, and then we could expose a screen flow to find an information and opportunity record in different Salesforce org or within the Salesforce org, where you could find the conceptual information about the prospects, and you could just send the prompts. Okay, this person has been went to the website, and then he's been searching all this information. I think, why don't you wait for him? I think just send a prompt to one of the sales teams to understand, okay, this guy has been spent on so much of time on this, and then have been clicked on so and so policy schedules or the policy documents, and then why don't you send an alert saying that this is a quotation or something like that. So this will easily help the salespeople that they don't need to look into it what the user behavior, and then they could immediately alert and send an alert, and they could be able to reach out to on a different personalized experience level. So that's what essentially this data actions does. So a simple holistic level, it monitors the data changes in only two objects, nothing but the two features inside data cloud, one with calculated insights and data model objects. It only currently working only these two interfaces. I can showcase in the demo later point of time how it looked like and how we can create and how you could trigger an event as well. And the most important thing is you can now use the data actions to focus on near real-time events and insights at different levels. As I've told one of the example, but you have a different example, especially on you could integrate data actions in MuleSoft any point, and you could share the aggregated event data with external platforms based on some certain criteria. And you could trigger the serverless functions that work with webhook based on insights in data cloud. And you could push unfiltered insights and engagements to your data lake or analysis and storage. So all these things is a part of your data actions. But when you look at the architecture behind this data actions, where you should understand more on how exactly this architecture has been trying to design for data actions. So if you look at our internal home org, our data cloud app, so a lot of questions comes up with have a data cloud org which just sits in my sales org, and the same sales org which has been sits outside of the data cloud org, and then there are different permutations and combinations where you should try to integrate with, or you can try to leverage data actions. And within the data cloud, where you have data streams, data lake objects, your data model objects, your identity resolution, and then you can design your unified profile, your calculated insights, and then you could design your own streaming insights on the insights panel. And now it comes with your data actions. This is what we were talking about, the data actions, which is provides a data change capture kind of a thing and a real time. So is there any change happening in the calculated insights? So let's take an example. In the POS as a platform where we have been integrated with S3 location, and then any new transactions I have done at EPOS platform. A new transaction will flow to AWS first, and then this platform will go and then refresh your data stream, and then it automatically updates your data model. So whenever any change happens in the data model, whenever there's a new transaction creates in data model, immediately it'll send an event to data actions, because we're going to design the data actions. Okay, whenever there is a record created or updated, immediately just send an email based on some certain conditions. You could directly send an email through Marketing Cloud, and you could directly alert your sales team that okay, the person has been done the transaction, and you could just send the sale order transaction details back to your one of the sales cloud org to let sales manager know what kind of transaction they did. And at the same time, the same action where you could send to service cloud where support team needs to know, because the person has reached out to the customer support and request them to cancel their order, and they wanted to understand what's happening for the last 10 days, and you could still use this data actions to send the notifications back to your sales service cloud app. And at the same time, you could be able to store this data or the actions directly into your one of the custom object inside other Salesforce orgs, or inside your Salesforce within the Salesforce home org where data cloud resides. And there are other things, webhooks. So you have different webhooks sitting in different platforms where you would love to send some events, uh, a kind of a payload, or kind of a triggering any third party events or third party applications. And of course, you could use webhooks, and these webhooks where you could design in any other platforms. It's just like open web API, and you could be able to integrate with Salesforce Data Cloud first using token generator. And then once you've been integrated, then you could leverage data actions to send any event happening in Salesforce calculated insights of the data model. And then you could send this event as well to, even you could integrate with Slack workflow, because in Slack you have your complete Slack APIs available, the ready-made webhooks available, where you can be able to integrate Slack and alert something. You can post some actions. You could create your own workflow inside Slack to call this using data actions, and any other third-party applications where if any webhook supports, you could be able to do it as well. So that's what this data actions will do. And the biggest question is how we can leverage data actions inside flows. We could leverage data actions inside flows and using a platform event options where we could see it, how it looked like and everything. But in overall architecture perspective, the data actions are near real time where you could see different ways that you could where you could trigger notifications back to different systems, Salesforce, Slack, any third party applications, even Marketing Cloud, using platform events in Salesforce, and for Webhook for other systems and Slack, and for Marketing Cloud you could leverage your Marketing Cloud connector. So that's what the overall architecture for data actions. So let's go back and then see some examples, screenshots, how it look like. So consider this is one of your holistic data cloud customer 360R, where you could look at all your the customer information, and you could see some of the calculated insights data sits in data cloud, especially the lifetime value, the LTVs, and you do have some notification center. You can build some notification center using a platform event, and then you could be able to design some consumption alert from the users based on what they've been consumed based on the transactions and what transactions and other information. And then you could send some alerts to notification center inside Sales Cloud, the one which I'm talking about through platform events. And at the same time, you could be able to design your lifetime value sits in data cloud in calculated insights, where you can pull and push the data into data cloud and then showcase here. So these are all some of the examples where you could leverage inside Salesforce CRM 360. And let's go to the next thing. So what are some of the facts that you should understand when using data actions? And make sure try to understand this. You'll get one question, especially on this data action facts. So typically, the biggest thing where you should remember you're trying to use data actions would be, so there are four key things, the four key facts. The number one would be you could send an alert or an event to a target based on streaming insights and engagement data, the one which we discussed. If anything which is happening, you could trigger an event on a target system based on your streaming insights and engagement data. And you could trigger an automation, which is a flow or a data integration, any MuleSoft, any point platform, or any SaaS application. So that is a part of your webbook. And it supports targets which are platform events, webhooks, and marketing cloud. So remember this question. So data actions will only support three targets inside data cloud: one Salesforce platform events, webhook, and marketing cloud. And while creating a data action, so you must need to create a data action target first. So that's one of the questions. So cover two questions, especially on this slide. So you must need to go through a different documentation as well to understand more on this aspects of data actions. So only three targets it supports: platform event, webhook, and marketing cloud. And creating a data action, you require a data action target setup first, and then you can be able to create the data actions. So these are all some of the key facts. Let's go to some of the examples and the use cases where we took it from the same help and training article. So, and then you should understand more about the use cases as well day to day. There are some use cases on a different industry level, especially on action informed engagement, service and support use case, financial services, account engagement, location based engagement, and retail kind of industries where we can talk about. So these are all some of the use case, especially if a customer visits multiple troubleshooting pages inside your support portal. And when you purchase something and then you enter the support portal to identify and understand where is the user manual or the manual where it need to be installed inside my electricians or anything as such. So if you're browsing different windows, and then the system will identify and then sending all this data back to data cloud, and then we could know why the person has been browsing different pages on a specific time window, and then we could be able to automatically log a case for the customer inside Salesforce using data actions. And if a customer purchase a product on website worth of 1,000, and then if you feel the customer is very worth, and probably could trigger an event via Marketing Cloud using API entry event, and then you could send some coupon codes. So we are a valid customer, and just use it. This 10% coupon code for the next purchase. And if a customer selects several items and place them into the cart but is not trying to purchase them, and it could again trigger the journey to urge the customer to complete the purchase. And there are some location based engagements where if you're trying to check in hotel, and then your customer journey will start to prompts, and it will give you some checkouts on luxury vacations and activities the next time. So these are some use cases where you should be able to think through, and then could be able to leverage data cloud data actions, which is again, it supports different way of events, right? So it supports you third party applications, and it supports your internal Salesforce systems, and it supports your massive omni-channel platform called Marketing Cloud. So these are all some of the use cases where we should talk about on a high level. But mostly you can remember how we could leverage. There's a question comes especially on the scenario based one. So how we could be able to design a kind of a scenario, and they'll ask a question: can we leverage data actions, or can you use segmentations or activation targets, something like this. So let's get into the demo. I'm sure this is a small topic, which is very covers two things: data actions and data action targets. So let me try to logging into my data cloud org. So whatever I've been explaining in the demo, so please be remembered. Especially there are some few implementation steps where you should really follow when you're trying to use the data cloud, designing data cloud actions. So this is my data cloud homework, and so as if told, the data cloud actions only supports currently data model objects, and it covers calculated insights, only two. Okay. So if you look at data model, so I'm sure in your previous sessions where once you create your data transformations inside your data streams, it'll automatically generate the data model for you, leveraging. I would sincerely adjust to leverage say normal Salesforce data cloud data model most of the time. 99%. If something that you wish or you would love to create something, a new custom object or something, then you can go with the creation of a new custom object. But most of the scenarios, what I've seen from different projects, have been covered 99% data model entities. Right. So if you look at most of them, it's data model objects, which is leveraged for different scenarios. And if you look at this one of the sale order, consider this one of the sale order where a transaction has been placed in POS systems, and then this has been integrated to S3. From S3, we've been integrated to data stream. And this sale order have multiple attributes, which include your sale order transaction details, which include your sale order amount and the date of transaction. So if you look at the data explorer, so if you look at your data explorer, so there's a data which is comes from different data sources. Like S3 is one of the data source, and data SF API is one of the data source. Like ingestion API is one of the data source. And you got the data when is your purchase data, and what is your sale order ID, and then what is your sale order amount. So all those things will store inside your data model object. So consider that you're doing this transaction via POS, and then we grab all these details from S3 location where it contains sale order status, sale order ID, and ship to email, the person's email, and the total amount of the sale order. And then predominantly, what you do is in calculated insights where you can create some lifetime value of the person, where you could consolidate the transactions, and then you could be able to design your own cumulative points, or you could design your own loyal customer or active customer based on some certain conditions. And you could at least design your own CAs, calculated insights. You could define, okay, who are my active customers, who are your loyal customers, and you could design all this information inside identity resolution, and you could design your total order amount. Because a person like me, I've done most number of transactions. So if I search with my details, don't have. if I search with my details where I don't have the information, but if you look at one of the person where he has done some 2 to 3 transactions, where you will have to consolidate that amount of the total transactions as an aggregator, and you could go and then design your own calculated insights. At the same time, you could design more calculated insights using lifetime value of the customer, the loyalty of the customer, and then you could create more insights using respective dimensions and the measures that what the system has been providing. So once you got the data in data model, so whenever there's a transaction happens, whenever there is any transaction status updates, right? So we were trying to, integrating with data model. So whenever any data model, any data stream refreshes, it go and then updates the data model. And once the data model is ready, then it's gone. Then the calculated insights will run, and then it updates the insight data as well, right? So once these two are done, then predominantly I would love to send a real-time email, love to send a real-time email or real-time insights back to different systems. So let's take an example. In order to send the near real-time data back to different states of systems, the number one thing, you have to go to the data actions, and then you can go and then click on new data action. So here it'll ask you your data action targets. So currently my data action targets here have created one with the Marketing Cloud, the other one with Salesforce Platform Event, and you can choose any one of the platform. First, you can choose the Marketing Cloud, and then it'll ask you the data space. And the question where, like, so there's some of the customers where they would love to manage different data spaces for their country regulations, and that's where Salesforce comes up with the best practice on the partitions of data space with the respective data policies and data regulations, where you can create multiple data spaces for multiple data countries. And at the same time, and in Marketing Cloud, where people leverages different country business units or different product level business units, where you could design your strategy of the business units accordingly. And then uh, and then you could choose your object type. As I've seen, while creating data action, it only supports data model and calculated insights for now. So if I choose my data model object, and then I can choose my primary object. So which object you would love to go on and create. So these are all my DMOs, and I'm going to choose my sale order. And here, if you build any relation at an DMO level, so the relationships of you could understand the cardinality of the relationships in sale DMOs. So it has one to one, one to many to many. So when you design any relation of sale order, so it automatically give you an option. What is the relation between your while you're creating your data stream and do mapping and transformations. So it'll give you, okay, inside my sale order, I have my relation called contact point email, and sometimes it comes with individual record. It shows you your contact point address, contact point, contact point, or uh, different consent objects, where when you have a relation, it automatically pull your data here. All right. So, and it's an optional where if you want to grab more number of attributes to send to different systems of record. Let's take an example. If I choose my contact point email, and I'll ask what is your subscriber key inside your sale order, the primary object. So if you contain, okay, my subscriber is my subscriber ID is shipped to email. So next, this is what I'm talking about. So when you choose your relation, your primary is sale order, and your relation with the sale order would be contact point email, and then it bring all your related object data, contact point email. They could see your details about contact point email ID. You will have to send data source object email address, and you would love to send the party or the primary flag. I could be able to click on next. So these are all attributes where you would love to go and then try to do it in Marketing Cloud. And this data will go and then inserting into one of the data extensions in Marketing Cloud. So once I click on next, so it'll ask you the action, what kind of action you will have to trigger. You want to do it at a record created or updated level, or you want to create a record deleted level. So you have different options inside your data actions, and you have different conditions. If you want to keep your different conditions about your data source equals to a certain value. The only thing that what I've seen the drawback in data actions would be, you need to put the value deliberately. You have to put the value, unless it's not like Salesforce rules, where it'll show you if the data source is a picklist value, then it'll show you the picklist from the drop down. But specifically, We need to put the perfect value. Where is your data source? Or you could put your data source contains S3, starting with S3, so it'll automatically pick your S3 location, and you can put some more conditions where from a sale order where you can put my total amount, which is equal to or which is greater than 500. And even you can put these conditions here as well. And most of the time that what we do is, as I'm already doing a lot of conditions inside my calculator insights, then I'm going to skip these conditions, and then I'm trying to directly leverage my event rules whenever a record created or updated. Then I'm trying to skip this session because I've done my rules directly inside my calculator insights. So that is one of the option as well. And then you could add more conditions if you want, and it'll give you what is your update records on the target data. So every time a record updates meets the conditions, or only the first time a record update meets these conditions, you could use these conditions as well. So once you're done, once you click on next, you can just give your action name and then the action API details, and then click on description and click on save and publish. So this is what the overall summary look like. So your data action target is SFMC, and your data space, your primary object, your related object, because this primary and related object only help you out to pull all the necessary attributes from the two objects, and then try to ingest the same data of these related attributes data back to Marketing Cloud. Now, once you design this, the next model would be action target. So because I already have an action target, that's why I haven't shown you how it can create the action targets. Let's go back to your data action targets. As I've told, in order to trigger the data action, you require the data action target. So the data action target would be on a different ways. We'd love to showcase how data action target types look like in Data Cloud. So you just give your data action target name. Let's take an example, test Linux. And then here, as I've told, currently in Data Cloud, the data action target only supports the platform events, webhook, and Marketing Cloud. So if you would love to choose my platform events, if I can go and then my current org, where it'll ask you to pick what is your current org of Salesforce, because Salesforce platform events only support Salesforce orgs, and you could see your Data Cloud POC is my Salesforce org, and then you can click on save. And if you would love to see your webhook, you have to give the webhook URL where you posted your webhook, because you could design your webhook in different ways. You could create your webhook in third-party applications, and you could be able to create your webhook in VF page if required in Salesforce, and you could create your webhook in different systems of maybe AWS or any other platforms, and then you need to generate a token. So there's a big process for webhooks where you should follow some documentation to create the webhook and set up accordingly. And in a Marketing Cloud, yes, it'll ask your business unit, what is your business unit, and then you can give your destination. So there are two ways where destination occurs: one with email entry event, the other one with Journey Builder API event. So typically, when we go with Journey Builder API event, which is ideally can go any way, anyone, not a big. But if you can choose Journey Builder API event, then it'll ask you what is your Journey Builder API event, because the step number one, what you have to do is in Marketing Cloud. So when I'm logging into Marketing Cloud, so please remember this question. So there's a question which comes from this especially. Hmm? Just give me 1 second. All right, I think I lost my password. So nevertheless, I'll just showcase how it looked like. So inside your data actions, so what we have done is we created the data action target, and the data action target where we specifically targeted SFMC as a platform. So in SFMC, we leverage API journey event, as an API journey event. So while you create a data action target and choose an SFMC as a target, and if you choose API journey event as one of the source. So before this, before creating of a data action target, so what you have to do is you have to do some steps, especially inside Marketing Cloud. Inside Marketing Cloud. So in SFMC, step number one, so you have to create one data extension. Create the data extension. Make sure the data extension attributes has to match it with one of the data action attributes. If I go to one of the data action, if I can go to my active customers, this is one of your data actions, and within the data actions where you can look at your attributes, key, qualify, ship to email, internal organization, or all these attributes which you already know, and you already select all these attributes to sending it to Marketing Cloud into one of the data extension. And what you have to do is your sale order attributes. Your sale order attributes. You have to go to your respective data model of sale order and choose your sale order, and which of the attributes that you have been trying to ingest into data extension. Make sure you have to create your data action attributes exactly like the data model attributes. So it's been taking time to load. It's plenty of attributes. So the format would be, if you look at your order object API name, SSOD sale order underscore DLM. So you have to create an attribute inside data extension. Once you go and then click on new data extension, so now we can start adding your attributes. What kind of attributes we have passed it from your data action to the Marketing Cloud. So your object name dot your field name. Let's take an example. This is one of the attribute that you're passing to Marketing Cloud. This thing. So this naming convention is really, really important because I've just used one of the field to expose inside data action. So these things you have to design first, and it exactly matches with your data model API fields inside Marketing Cloud. Once you've done this exercise, you have to define your subscriber key. You understand where you choose one subscriber key at the data action level. So you have to choose subscriber key, the same subscriber key inside data action in your data extensions. Once you're done, so the next step is to go and then create your API entry event. So in the journey builder, you have to go and then create your API entry event, and then you can target this API entry event to this data extension where the data has been storing inside Marketing Cloud. So this is a process where you should follow when you want to leverage. Marketing Cloud is one of your data action target when you're trying to send an email. When you're trying to send an email directly from Marketing Cloud via data actions. So you should follow this process. Make sure you should matches this data model attributes, because most of the times where you struggling, people struggling where they create their own model, and then they're trying to understand, okay, what went wrong and all. But you have to follow this in order to trigger an event and fire an email from Marketing Cloud via data actions. Right. So this is one of the thing, and especially there's one more use case. So we've shown the Marketing Cloud event. Let's go platform events. So inside your platform
So
events, where
quick thing, you tried to log in earlier, right? It seems that in the username there is some letters missing. Phaneendra, DRAR is missing. Is that how it is? No R. Phaneendra, right?
I'm trying my luck. Oh yeah. Okay, let me showcase that how it looked like. So inside your marketing cloud, I'm going to create my data extension. I'll just showcase how I create my data extension. So these are all my two data actions I've created, one with the loyal customer, one with active customer, and I created two data action baskets again. You can look at one of this. So this is how it look like exactly. So it should matches your SSOT, sale order underscore DLM underscore SSOT, and the respective field name. So I'll just copy this. So this is what exactly you have to design your attribute. It exactly matches with your data model attribute. So once you design this, you can go and then create your own journey builder API entry event. So if you take one of the active customers, so here you can just choose your entry event. You can create one entry event, which is your API entry event, which is nothing but active customers, and then you could just target to the data extension where you would love to target, and then you could just send an email directly to the customers. So the simple way that you could design your real-time email communication from data actions if any data change happens at data model at calculated insights through marketing cloud. And at the same time, if you look at Salesforce platform events, so the Salesforce platform events, especially inside your data cloud org, where your data cloud org sits, you have to go and then you have to create your own flow. You can create your own flow here. So we've been trying with some of the data cloud record trigger flow, or you could create your own flow using a platform event. So this flow where you could create your own platform event triggering concept, and these flows are very powerful nowadays. I think try to learn as much as you can, because recently Salesforce Data Cloud has been introduced one more flow called record trigger, Salesforce Data Cloud record trigger flow, where you could directly pull the data from Salesforce Data Cloud, and then you could just post the same data back to different Salesforce orgs using that Data Cloud record trigger flow. So if you look at the flow that what I've been using, the data capture, data change event is one of the event where you have to leverage while leveraging the platform events. So you have to use a platform event trigger flow, and the action would be data object data change event, the event that what I'm trying to do. And then we were just exposing this, and then we're trying to create the case records here. So I'll just showcase. So this is a platform event where you have to choose data object data change event, which is already available inside your platform event when you choose a platform event, and then define your rules when this rule has been triggered, and you choose your advanced settings, and then you can just put your condition where you would love to create the records, because you already defined the platform event object and the data that what you've necessary doing some steps here in the data actions. So once you've done it, you can go and then try to ingest the data into Salesforce case object or any other objects that you wish to see. So there's another event where, especially if you would love to expose your data to different Salesforce org. Let's take an example. A sales manager looking for a consolidated sale order transaction details, or a service support team wanted to see the customer sale order transactions. You could go and then you could be able to see something like this using data actions. So make sure, team. So this is the one that I've shown you, the platform events. This is inside the data cloud org. My sales cloud, service cloud, data cloud, all three orgs sits in the same Salesforce org. Then this platform events, like you could be able to design your platform events currently, but you would love to expose, if you would love to expose the data from data cloud org to different Salesforce org, okay, then I can go and then leverage another flows. That flow is record trigger data flow. This is one more flow where you can leverage data cloud trigger flow, which is recently designed by Salesforce again. So they created one more flow action called data cloud trigger flow. And here you do have an option to choose your data cloud objects, where I choose my sale order object. And whenever a condition record updated, I'm sending some of the data. I'm sending some of the data inside my Apex action. I've taken these are all my input attributes from sale order object, and then I'm trying to insert this data back to my one of the sales cloud org. So if you look at how it looked like, this is completely new Salesforce org. And if you look at my contacts, if you look at my contact, so this is my contact 360, the customer 360, and these transactions are coming from my POS platform. So as a sales manager, I could see is there any transactions, and same team, the support team can see the transactions happening, and you could see the same transaction, and you could list out all these details as well, and you could consolidate. I got the total transaction amount through calculated insights because I've aggregated the data. This is my total transaction amount from CA, and this the data is from DMO. Using data actions, we could be able to do this thing as well, and you could define your loyalty status as well, right? So this is one more concept where you could leverage your platform events and leverage your query API, which is data cloud record trigger flows and data object data capture events. Using both, you could be able to design and and you could satisfy your sales and service requirements as well. So that is for data actions on the data action targets of Marketing Cloud and Salesforce platform events. Let's talk about the webhook. So typically inside your webhook is a different process altogether. So when you want to expose your webhook to, let's take an example. This. So inside your data cloud, inside your DC, when you're trying to create a webhook, ideally it'll ask you your webhook URL. So once you define your URL coming from S3, let's take an example. It's from S3 location. Let's consider AWS location, AWS, or maybe a kind of URL, valuehubid.com or something. Once you've designed your webhook URL, so automatically Data Cloud generates one token. It automatically generates a token. This token will you have to go and then configure inside your inside your AWS platform. And once you confirm these steps, because all these steps are available in help and training article. So once you follow these steps, and then it automatically give you a connection between both the platforms, and then you could be able to trigger any alert that records have been created or updated from CIs and DMOs as well. So this is one more way where you could be able to leverage data actions through webhooks. Webhooks mostly, ideally, very high rare use cases where you want to go with third-party applications and third-party wants to update, need some updates. Let's take an example, push notification, right? Where you have to expose your mobile app and then create your own webhook and then place that webhook inside your one of the server and then connecting that with data cloud. So there are different propensity options that we have that we can go and then design the platform, but it does to provide the near real-time information that makes a more significant impact from a customer standpoint, that makes a more customer centric experience, right? So that's what I really like, this concept of leveraging data actions and data action targets. And pretty much this is really great concept, and I've covered three questions. The question number one, remember again, how many types of data action targets? So it simply shows, this is a question, Salesforce platform event, webhook, and Marketing Cloud. And there's another question where can we be able to create the data action without data action targets? So they'll ask a question. So we can't able to create data actions without data action target, and the event won't be fired. And the most troubleshooting question would be Marketing Cloud. So are we going to manage exactly the same API fields structure in order to design the data extensions inside Marketing Cloud? Just try to remember these questions, and mostly you'll get these questions. So that's all we have for the demo on the data cloud actions and the data action targets. Let's go back to the presentation. So these are all some of the data cloud resources where you can go and then try it out and then try to learn, especially on data cloud marketing, data cloud Tableau, data cloud for a native and core, and the MuleSoft. And there are some strategic partnerships where Salesforce has been expanding through AWS, Google, and other systems. So let me know if anyone has any questions. And once again, thank you so much, Shebi, for giving this opportunity. And I'm sure that there are some questions. I'm happy to help you out. Thank you.
Thank you, Phaneendra, for sharing your expertise. We have a couple of questions in the chat, and everyone, please put your questions in the chat so we can answer it in this session. And any other sessions that are not related to this specific topic, you can fill the form so we can address that in the next session.
All right, so I'll take the questions.
So I see a question from George. Phaneendra, if you're looking at the same question. If a data action is set to trigger an email when a user meets X criteria, do we send it to CRM and then have it synchronized to SFMC?
Once again, so where I can see that question?
So, I'm coming from the bottom.
Oh, coming from bottom.
George, yeah. So data action is set to trigger an email when a user meets X criteria. So
Okay,
do we first send it to CRM and then to Marketing Cloud?
No, actually, no, not required, George, because if a data action, meets the criteria, we have an action target with Marketing Cloud where you could leverage Marketing Cloud as your target to send an email directly from Marketing Cloud. So that's what I've explained in my demo, and you could be able to directly send an email from Marketing Cloud.
Okay, but what if we need to update the CRM in that case? I think the question is more about like need to update the CRM.
Okay, the good question. So if you'd love to, let's take an example. A sale order has been created inside Salesforce. And if a customer comes and reach out to the support team via chatbot or any other query, and then he would love to cancel the transaction, or where we supporting what they done is the user flow again to cancel the order, cancel the transaction, and immediately the status of the transaction would be canceled. So we would love to send this transaction back to POS, because POS need to know what are all the cancellation orders, cancellation transactions. So we have an option inside Data Cloud. So we use our query APIs to send that cancellation status back to Data Cloud. So you must need to use a platform events. There are two things I would love to explain here, George. One thing is you could send the status back to Data Cloud DMO. You can create the new DMO record using the ingestion API from Salesforce CRM org and create a new record with the status as cancelled. And you could sync the same record back to Marketing Cloud under one of the transactions, failed transaction CSV via activation target. That is one way. The other way would be you could sync this data back to Marketing Cloud, and then you could trigger an email via your common route of Salesforce CRM connector.
Thanks, Fanny. So,
yeah.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, but make sure we should follow some enterprise rules, because POS team looking forward for cancellation orders, right? So there are two ways. You can send this data to Marketing Cloud, and then you could run an automation, and you could place a file to one of the SFTP location where S3 will pick the SFTP location file, and then it'll run the file again, which involves more number of steps. But you could leverage one of the ingestion API concept where you could, whenever a transaction cancelled from CRM via an ingestion API, it can go and then sync with Data Cloud. And immediately we have an activation target where we could run the segmentation, and you could run the segmentations on order status equal to cancel, and send all these cancellation orders on a near real time back to AWS. So these are all some of the steps.
Yeah, thanks, Fanny. And looking at the other questions, do you have any sample payload from platform event triggered flow?
Sample payload, yes, I have. I probably shared it with JB, so that JB can just add that text file inside your payload size. Text file.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. And also, if it is a small one, then can you add it to the PPT as well?
Yep.
Slide deck.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. So once pushed to the Salesforce, then we can leverage all the features of the Salesforce. Just wanted a confirmation on that. So we can leverage.
Yeah. Because see, I'm storing the data into one of the custom object, and then I'm happily leverage the custom object in different features.
Right. So the next one, I don't see event definition key in your JB API event configuration. How
Sorry,
Data Cloud will push the record to
Sorry, I
SFMC?
haven't shown that key. I haven't shown that key actually, but there is a key which is required. But what happens is we already have a Marketing Cloud connector. Remember when you spun up the Salesforce Data Cloud org, so you already connecting your Marketing Cloud business units in the Marketing Cloud org, right? So once you've done the connection, whenever you create the data action target, then it won't display your keys. It will display, rather than the definition key ID, it will display your what it is. It'll display your data, display your API journey events.
Okay, that's nice. So how do we leverage the streaming insights from Data Cloud to create journeys in Marketing Cloud? I think you might have covered this already. Just
Yes,
if you can
yes.
give more light.
Yes. So the most important thing would be, so when you create your data actions, I specifically choose my object where it has to pull the data. The first thing I've shown you is a sale order, and if you choose a sale order, I choose one more object called contact point email. So my requirement would be, I would love to send some of the data from contact point email, which is my email data, and some of the data of the sale order ID. And here in the same screen where I've shown you the subscriber key, what is subscriber key in order to insert the data into your data extension. And at the same time, you could able to create the same attributes of DMO directly to your data extensions of Marketing Cloud, and then it has to match exactly the format that what I've been given. Once you're going to design this, then automatically the data will be stored inside your data extension.
That helps. And I see one last question. Do clients turn off synchronization between CRM and FNC when using Data Cloud?
Do clients turn off synchronization between CRM and SFMC when using Data Cloud? No, I don't think so, because that is what something which it's all depend upon the use case, George, again, because I don't see any client which is turn off synchronization between CRM and SFMC. There are some other use cases, right? Because I've seen a couple of customers where they're sending data from Commerce Cloud to Data Cloud, and then from Data Cloud to Marketing Cloud, and they're using coupon codes because they're using loyalty management. They would love to send coupon codes data back to Marketing Cloud as well. So they're using different rules, different conditions altogether.
Okay, so you have time for one more question, Pani?
Yep.
So does selecting unified individual as primary object while creating a new data action, would it enable contact point phone, email, and address? I'm trying to understand if it's possible to send unified contacts through a platform event and update CRM object.
I think pretty much you can do it, because when you choose your individual as a primary object, and if you really have relation to individual back to contact point, email, phone, and address, and you could see all the attributes relevant to the respective consent data model, and then you could be able to send the data back to your CRM object, CRM table as well. Yes, you can do it.
Okay, that's nice. So I think those are all the questions, Funny.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Funny. Yeah.
No. Thank you, JB, for having me, and looking forward for many sessions. And I hope this session is useful for some of them. And all the best for your exam. And I'm sure that you could definitely make it. Thank you.
Definitely, yes. So reminder to everyone, please fill out the Ask Me Anything panel form. So that is in 2 days, the same time. Make sure you are filling in with all your questions. So that's your opportunity to get it answered directly from the experts. So Vlad, Arvind, and Matt will be joining the panel. And we do have some swags. So we will be picking the winners for the swag. We have 3 certification vouchers, and for one person living in US, there'll be a swag. So we'll be picking the winners next session. So make sure you attend. Once again, thanks everyone. Thank you, Pani. Take care.
Take care. Bye.